Be Wealthy and Smart, episode number 281.
Step into a world of wealth and financial freedom without budgets, boredom, or bosses on Be Wealthy and Smart. And now, here's your host, Linda P. Jones.
Welcome to Be Wealthy and Smart. I'm Linda P. Jones, America's Wealth Mentor, empowering women and men worldwide to financial freedom. Well, on today's show, I wanted to do something really fun and different. You know, we hear in the news all the time about Bitcoin, and some of you have been following Bitcoin, some of you aren't. I did do a podcast about Bitcoin in the past, so if you aren't familiar with what it is, how it got started, and what it's all about, I do have another podcast about that. But I wanted to share with you this interesting podcast about a high school dropout who invested in Bitcoin at $12 and now at 18 years old is a millionaire. So this is a really interesting story that I found on CNBC.com, and it was written by Michelle Castillo. And it says, Eric Finman began investing in Bitcoin in 2011 when it was just $12 a share. And then through selling companies and other investments, he now has 403 Bitcoins worth more than $1 million. So that was just under the caption with a picture of him. And I will leave the link to this article, the live link to this article on my website at lindapjones.com, and then go to podcasts and then number 281. So the article says, Eric Finman made a bet with his parents that if he turned 18 and was a millionaire, they wouldn't force him to go to college. Thanks to his savvy investments in Bitcoin and the current all-time high valuation, he won't have to get his degree. Quote, I can proudly say I made it and I'm not going to college, Finman said. He currently owns 403 Bitcoins, which at the current $2,700 a coin puts his Bitcoin value at $1.09 million. He also has smaller investments in other cryptocurrencies, including Litecoin and Ethereum. Bitcoin is very volatile and the value could decline rapidly. A technical analyst told CNBC he believes Bitcoin will only go up to $2,800 before the value recedes, while others think it may reach $100,000 in a decade. Finman thinks its best days are still ahead. Quote, personally, I think Bitcoin is going to be worth a couple $100,000 to $1 million a coin, he said. Wow, that is interesting. The article goes on to say, Bitcoin and the blockchain technology it is built on allow people to cut out the middleman, Finman explained. For example, Bitcoin and the blockchain technology it is built on allow people to cut out the middleman, Finman explained. For example, an open-source blockchain ride-share platform would allow users to power the service on their phones using peer-to-peer technology without a central hub. It would allow the drivers to get more money by cutting overhead costs, he added. It could also create the next evolution of the internet, one which wouldn't be reliant on servers. Finman began investing in Bitcoin in May 2011 at the age of 12, thanks to a $1,000 gift from his grandmother and a tip from his brother Scott. Though he's close with his family, which he calls the Elon Musk version of the Kardashians, growing up in small-town Idaho outside of Coeur d'Alene wasn't easy. Finman was especially frustrated with his high school teachers and begged his parents to let him drop out at 15. Quote, high school was pretty low quality, he said. I had these teachers that were all kind of negative. One teacher told me to drop out and work at McDonald's because that was all I would amount to for the rest of my life. I guess I did the dropout part. Wow. Surprisingly, his parents, who met pursuing their PhDs at Stanford, agreed. Finman sold his first Bitcoin investments at the end of 2013 when they were valued at $1,200 apiece. With the $100,000, Finman launched an online education company called Botangle in early 2014 that would allow frustrated students like him to find teachers over video chat. He also used the funds to move to Silicon Valley and did some fun things like meet Reddit co-founder Alexis Ohanian and traveled. I really liked Colombia, he said. It was fun but a little sketchy. Some interesting stuff happened. I was held up at gunpoint there, which is pretty scary, but I have this emergency button I programmed in Android that lets you put on speaker but turns off audio automatically and dials a local emergency number. Maybe I'll turn that into an app," he added. "It's handy." It was hard getting people to take a 15-year-old tech entrepreneur seriously, Finman admitted. He recalled being called in to interview with really high up, unnamed Uber executive who, instead of listening to his Botangle pitch, discouraged him and told him he would never win the bet with his parents. Eventually, he found a buyer for Botangle's technology in January 2015. The investor offered either $100,000 or 300 Bitcoin, which had dropped in value at that time to a little more than $200 a Bitcoin. He took the lower cash value Bitcoin deal because he believed it was the next big thing. My parents asked, "Why don't you take the more cash?" Finman explained, "But I thought of it more as an investment." Since then, Finman has been managing his family and his own Bitcoin investments. He has also kept busy on other projects, including working with NASA to launch a rocket through the Elena project. One thing he won't do is go back to school. "I never got my GED, and I don't see the value in it," Finman said. "The purpose of that would be to get another education level and get a job. I had to learn through running a business. Instead of writing essays for English class, I had to write emails to important people." Although the rest of his family has degrees, his brother Scott went to Johns Hopkins at 16 and now has an enterprise software company, while his other brother Ross went to Carnegie Mellon at 16 for robotics and is now pursuing his PhD at MIT. He's happy learning about the real world from experience. "The way the education system is structured now, I wouldn't recommend it," Finman said. "It doesn't work for anyone. I would recommend the internet, which is all free. You can learn 1,000,000 times more off YouTube and Wikipedia." Well, I have to agree about the YouTube part. I love learning off of YouTube. There's so much education there, and I've been so disappointed that television wasn't used as an education vehicle. And for those of you who love learning like I do, YouTube has everything and every topic that you could ever want to learn about. What's really interesting is one of the most prominent billionaire investors, Jim Rogers, has said he doesn't believe that a college degree is worth the money anymore, and he thinks people should become farmers. So it looks like we're going to have a trend of perhaps people questioning whether spending $250,000 or more on some of these university degrees is really worth it. Something to think about, and maybe, like I said, a new trend in the making. You might have heard a little bit of snoring in the background. That's my little beagle, Penny, who's on the floor and happened to be snoozing through my podcast. So if you heard some strange noise, there she goes again. If you hear some strange noise, that's just Penny, my little sweetie. That's all for today. Until next time, live the good life and be wealthy and smart.
Thank you for listening to Be Wealthy and Smart with Linda P. Jones. Share the wealth and tell your family and friends about the show. Check out our website, blog, and social media for more riches at www.bewealthyandsmart.com.